Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Many of you know that I was a vendor at a flea market, a fishing flea market, a week or so ago. And well, this is Flea Market Finds. This is going to be version 1. I don't know kind of how to do this one because, well, these found me. I didn't find them. What do I mean by that? There was a fellow from our fishing club who knew I was going to be there, knows that I purchase used fishing equipment, and well, he just decided to bring down a bag of reels. He said they belonged to his son or son-in-law, and well, they inherited them, they have no use for them, and would I be interested in purchasing them? And generally I'll try and help folks out like that, and this is one of those cases where I did. Got a bag full of reels, so I thought I would show them to you. We'll call this one Flea Market Reels That Found Me. And then there's a second video I'll do that is going to be reels that I found at the flea market that other vendors were selling. So let's get started. My main interest was in 2 reels that were in the box. They were both very big Penn Senators. The Penn Senators have been around since the 1940s. It was one of the first reels that Penn actually went and manufactured. This is the 114H. That came later. Generally, when you see the red side plates, it means it's a high-speed reel as opposed to the black-sided, which is low. But don't get too crazy about thinking high speed. I believe the difference in the gear ratios between the black-sided and the red-sided is only a half. So I believe the black-sided ones, the quote-unquote low speed, is about a 2.1 to 1, and the red ones are about a 2.5 or 2.6 to 1. I'm going to go back and verify that. I got a lot to do to clean up. You can tell this is an older reel based on a couple of factors. One of them is this kind of rounded torpedo handle. The newer versions of these reels went to the rubber handles and or the big black leverage handles. So this is an older one. The other telltale sign of this being an older reel is that it has the drag washers that you can replace without taking off the side plate. You'll notice that there is a collar here. Once you remove the handle screw, the handle, the star adjuster, and the washer underneath, this collar will come out and you have access to the drag washers that are inside this reel without removing the side plate and getting all busy with doing things like disrupting the anti-reverse that you can hear clicking here and the like. So this one's going to clean up beautifully, and that was probably one of the reasons why I agreed to the price that I did. There was a second one in here as well. These are always interesting. This one is much stiffer. This one's going to need to be tuned up. And this one has wire line on it. Now the wire line is used for sharking and big fish. And well, you can see the problems that you have with wire line. Generally the wire line is going to scar the chrome. This one's carrying a lot of water, and you can see how the salt has had an effect on the side of the spool. But you can also see, again, with that bigger handle knob and with that collar for the inner plate, that this is a reel that can be serviced from the outside. Now there is a difference in the coloration, so this one would be older than the one above it, but they are both 114Hs. They do have a pretty good market value these days. I think once cleaned up and serviced, they're probably anywhere from about $60 to $100 depending on the condition. I'll make my money back on my reel purchases if that's the case and I wind up selling them. Well, here's an example of what I was talking about with that rubber handle. It's not the example of the metal one, but this is a Penn GTI 330. There's almost the largest of the level winds in this series. There is one more. It's called the Super GTI. That one is a 345, which is just huge. But this is about as big as you're going to get with a level line reel that's going to manage to fish in salt water. This is about the size of a Penn 4.0 in terms of the diameter of the side plate. It's got less capacity because the spool is a more narrow diameter spool so that it accommodates the flow of this line guide back and forth. This one and the Daiwa C lines were probably competitors at the time. Both of them very sturdy reels, and in this case it does need the inner button here for the spool control. Other than that, it's a very clean reel, and it'll have a nice resale value to it. Next up is a spin fisher that actually has its badge on it. This is a Penn 704Z spin fisher. This one turns nice and free and easy today. I think you can probably just put this on a pole and take it fishing if you wanted to. Everything's working, but of course that's not the way I do things. If I'm going to either resell a reel or if I'm going to take it personally fishing, I'm going to tune it up. I want to make sure that you don't get out on the water and have a failure that, well, could have been avoided if you had just taken the time to clean it up. Like most of these spin fishers, that inner rubber stop for the bail has worn off or broken off. That leads to a misaligned bail. It should be up like here. Some folks choose to use like a crazy glue and a piece of, well, anything, plastic, wood, what have you, to build this back up. Other people, well, I see this one is kind of bent, right? It looks like it's hit something because it's not square. It's kind of leaning in. Other people just try to bend that back up as a way to restore it. It should be up here. Most of the time what that does is, unfortunately, it leads to coning on the line, where more line will gather on the bottom because, well, the line guide isn't raised up enough to reach that top of the spool. But at any rate, very solid reel for the price paid. It's wonderful. Then I have a bag full of these. These are your Penn Jigmaster 500s. And I know exactly where these are going, and this is probably why I agreed to help the individual out. I service fishing reels for some boat captains, and these are the standard these days of the fishing reel fleet. They were using the Penn 60s and 65s forever. Those got discontinued in 2009. The only thing really that was a conventional reel open to party boat captains that wanted to continue to use the Penn reels was the Jigmaster. And the captain I work with says, I'll take every one you got if they are the made in the USA version. So he recognizes the issues with the modern made in China Jigmasters, doesn't want them, but the USA ones he does. So I have one of those. I have one of the older versions. This is the one, as I mentioned earlier, these are the ones that were made in the 1970s. They are red. I just did a video on that side plate screw, how to replace that, but I really didn't show how it works. What you do is you back that screw off, you pull it out, quarter turn will show you what's on the inside. And if you're considering buying a Jigmaster, I recommend you do what I just did there, of course with the permission of the seller. Ask the seller if it's okay if you remove the side plate to check the internals. You'll see all kinds of different things when you open up this. This one's pretty clean. Looks like there's no internal damage, no over greasing or anything like that. This is one that you would want to consider buying. If you open it up and you see something that just doesn't look good to your eye, well, what do they say? If you see something, say something, or just get rid of it. And then I have, well, what we were talking about earlier. I don't know why all of these have their fatal alarms on, but they do. These are the Penn Long Beach reels. This is the 65. This is the 65. Now, so the 65s are the wider frame version. Internally, the gearing is exactly identical. And this is kind of interesting in that one has the badge on the one side, the other doesn't. Kind of interesting. I'm thinking, well, I'm not thinking, I'm knowing on this one. This is an old side plate. So you'll notice on this side plate that it's rounded, kind of rounded over. This is squared up. So this is a very early Penn Long Beach 65 side plate. This one's probably from the 1950s. And well, it got patched onto this reel to keep the reels running, I guess. These are pretty much interchangeable throughout the line. Oh, two more. Another 65. This one's missing the screw. And these are lessons, and if you're going to go to flea markets and shop for them, make a thorough look, because it's going to cost you more to make that reel go fishing, even if it's just a missing screw. You want to note that. And there's one on this side. So this thing probably didn't even fish because, well, it wouldn't be held to the rod stand. But you have the two missing screws. Sometimes this lever is missing. We saw on the GTI that the spool adjuster cap is missing. And those all add up over time. One more. So all of these are going to be cleaned up. We'll get these out there to the party boat captain. And, well, we'll just get them fishing again. So, well, I hope you've enjoyed the reels that have found me. There'll be a second episode on the reels that I found. And, well, we'll do that one right now. We'll probably air them about a day or two apart. But these are Fishing Reel Finds, Part 1, the reels that found me. I hope you've enjoyed that. Before I leave, I want to take a moment to thank our police, fire, safety, rescue, all of the first responders, everybody that has dedicated their service and career to public safety and keeping us out of harm's way. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, wishing everybody a great day.